this weekend. All right, here we go. Let's listen up.
Good evening. I'm Ethan Weeks. I go to Park High School and I play defense. Today we learned about having micro and macro perspectives on and off the lacrosse field. There are many ways in life where different people can have different point of views, having micro or macro perspective. Having macro mindset deals with the goals you may individually want or a group you're part of may want to achieve in the long future. Having micro mindset deals with the little things in between long-term goals you may want to achieve. In lacrosse, your team can have a macro perspective of winning a competitive championship like districts or state. There can also be an individual point of view on micro versus macro goals. For example, a coach can have a micro vision in mind and teach and train the players into being worthy of winning that championship that the team may want. If you have a big goal that you aspire to achieve, you need to have small goals that can keep you intact and help you complete each step with earning that big achievement that you want. If you want to accomplish each step in the right way, the right order, and having good people to help you along the way, having both micro and macro goals will 100% always cooperate with each other, so that no matter what your vision is, no matter what you want in life, you'll always be able to complete your goals and strive for even more than what your initial plan was.
Spoke last year as well, and he was very nervous, right? Now he's a year later, he's even more mature, and he's such an amazing speaker, right? Great job.
My name is Penn. I go to Notre Dame Banquet School. I play attack. And I will be talking about effort and passion. If you only show your effort at 10, you will always stay at a 10. But if you show effort, if you show passion with the same amount of effort, it will produce in a result that is tenfold and equal 100. Every moment on the field is a moment to give your best effort and passion. Passion fuels the fire, but it's an effort that shapes us as players. In lacrosse, every shot, every spin is a testament to our dedication and heart. We embrace our passion for lacrosse, not only in our games, but more importantly in every practice. Knowing that our effort is what truly defines us as players. It's not just about the victories, it's about the hard work we put in and love we have for the game that drives us to be better for ourselves and our teammates every day. Each one in the same passion and effort should be with you as you face your everyday goals and challenges.
Is a concept called the passion multiplier, right? You can put a level of 10 effort into anything, but when your passion is there and you actually love what you're doing and why you're doing, it goes 10 times 10. I love that, Finn. Great job. Great job.
Hello, my name is Emmett, and I go to Orfield Middle School. I play midfield, and I'll be talking about the difference between capacity, potential, and current state. Capacity is the max of something you can do at once. Potential is what someone believes or knows you can be in the future. Last is your current state, which might only be a taste of what you can do in the future. Now I know that all of the coaches here will help and push the players to their full capacity and potential.
Parents to a test. Right.
Can all the parents please raise their hand as high as as they can. Can you raise your arm?
Good. Excellent work. Excellent work. Good. So we talk a lot about this. When we first tell the players to raise their hand as high as they can, they raise it as high as they can. And then we say, can you raise it higher? And some of them can raise it higher. And then we say, be creative about raising it higher. And all of a sudden, they're standing on a chair. And then they're standing on a table. And then they jump. And they can touch the ceiling, right? But when they started, they were 5 feet away from the ceiling. And by the time they figured out their potential is to touch the ceiling, right? All of a sudden, it clicks that I do need a coach. I do need a mentor. Because they will push us to achieve our potential, even when we don't know what that potential is. We love that exercise. We love that they do it. And hopefully you see that they're going to start achieving their potential over time. Great job, Emmett. He's going to intro one of our speakers. Yep.
Hi, I'm Paul Murphy, and I go to OMS, and I play defense. Stars and Stripes teaches you a lot more than just lacrosse. It teaches you life lessons. Like when we were given a time commitment, we should always be somewhere earlier than expected. Coach wants us to do this so we are prepared for our obligations. This means being there 15 minutes earlier. This applies for so many things in life. If you're not prepared, you will not succeed. We also learn that you will need to get the best sleep possible. Sleep helps the body regenerate and grow stronger. It is important to not stay up on your phone and play video games all night. The more rest you get, the stronger your body will be, and the more you will be able to learn. Today, we learned a lesson that I will apply for everything I do. There are no shortcuts to success. Coach Bear talked about how his son, Evan, in college, the path to the locker room is curvy, and the football team walks right through it and doesn't follow the path or take shortcuts. The lacrosse team walks the same path and doesn't cut corners. The football team hasn't won a championship in 30 years. And the lacrosse team has won 12 of the last 20 championships. Most importantly, working hard and having fun and having good dedication is key to success, not cutting corners.
Lessons for all, not just one. He's an overachiever. The shortcut piece is really important, and I know you may talk about this a little bit, Mike, but it's not just about lacrosse. It's not just about how you walk places. There are players who are taking shortcuts at school, and they're having AI do their homework, right? They're not learning anything when that happens, and their teachers can actually check with AI and see if AI did their homework. There are players in high school or in college that are finding shortcuts to happiness, which we don't want our players to take. We want our players to embrace happiness, right? The real old-fashioned way, right? Earn your happiness with your friendships and your passion, okay? So it's very important that we're a no shortcut mindset. So, Paulie, thank you very much. Good. All right, thank you to all our speakers. So what we're going to do real quick is we are going to line up and get food. Okay? So by table. We'll say which table is going. So as you get food, bring it back. We're going to try to get to the lines as quickly as possible. Because while we're eating, Coach Murphy is going to talk to us. All right? We're going to let Coach get his food first, right? We're going to let our distinguished table of guest of honor is going to get their food first. So when he's done eating, he's going to talk while you're all eating. Right? But there will be no talking. We're just going to eat and listen. We all good with that?
Yes, Coach.
All right, so we're going to start with our distinct radio.
My name is Brady McKechnie. I'm a 27 defender. I go to Mass. I'd just like to take a moment and introduce the next speaker, Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy's been the head coach of the University of Pennsylvania men's lacrosse team since 2009, creating a team that focuses on discipline and teamwork. Some of his accomplishments include Ivy League Coach of the Year in 2019, 4 NCAA championship appearances, and being the winningest coach in League Penn men's lacrosse history. A former 3-year starter at Duke University, Murphy brings a strong understanding of the game and a competitive mindset to his coaching. Known for developing talent and building solid defenses, he has turned Penn into a strong competitor in one of the toughest conferences in the league of lacrosse. Please join me in welcoming Coach Mike Murphy.
Thanks, Brady. Well done. I don't think that was a chat GPT. Really excited to be here tonight. Thanks, Spiro, for inviting me here. And just talk a little bit about the sport of lacrosse and the opportunity you guys have playing for this unique club program. And just a little bit of background. I will start by saying that lacrosse is the single greatest thing that's happened to me in my life outside of my family. And has provided me most of the positive experiences that I've ever had over the course of my life since I found lacrosse in middle school. So I moved from North Carolina to Connecticut when I was in 7th grade, and then I went to a game. The first game I ever saw was a very exciting 1983 national championship game. Syracuse came back, being down 5 or 6, and won 17-16. And it was love at first sight. And then I played in the camp that summer and just kind of got more and more into it. Had a pretty good career in high school. Our team won a lot. Went to Decatur High School, and I was fortunate enough to go to Duke. And then as I became a senior, and everybody around me was trying to go to Wall Street and work for all these fancy jobs, none of that sounded very appealing to me. So I asked my coach, this guy, Frank Pressler, how I could stay involved in the sport of lacrosse, and that's how I started coaching. I was very lucky to land at Brown University with Coach Starja, and then went to Virginia with him, which is where I met my wife. She was a lacrosse player there, and started dating and things, and then was an assistant coach at Penn, was the head coach at Haverford College in Division III for 7 years, and now I've been back at Penn, like Penny said, since 2009. And like I said, most of my good friends, my wife, most of the best things that have happened to me in my life have really been because of the sport of lacrosse. And then I just found it, somewhat serendipitously, having moved from North Carolina where they didn't have it, and then ended up in Connecticut when they did. Andy Tower, the coach of the Chaos, he was one of the first people I met when I moved to Connecticut, and he's the one that took me to that game and kind of the rest of it. So he lit the fire for the sport of lacrosse that still burns in me today. So, and I just want you guys to understand that there are hundreds, probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands of club teams in America now. But yours is very unique. Any of you guys have any sense of what makes Stars and Stripes a unique club team? And Coach K hit on it earlier. Anybody? Parents, have a guess? Yes. Yes. Not for profit, but maybe $1 profit. Exactly. And most of the other club teams exist, and it's a money-making venture for the people that run it. And so what makes this extremely unique is that nobody here is doing this for the money, which makes it much more pure than 99% of the other club opportunities out there. And so you guys need to understand that you have something pretty special here, right? And so this is not about playing time, and this is not about how much money somebody's making. This is about you guys, good boys becoming great men, and this is about you guys developing a love for lacrosse. Hopefully, like Spiro and I have, and some of your parents probably have as well. But just understand that the Stars and Stripes model is unique, and it's, I think, better than the other models out there. And so you guys are lucky to be a part of something like this. Your parents driving you all over the country, and I appreciated what Spiro said about that as well. It is a labor of love for the parents, and I'm here today as a coach of a college team, but I also was a player, and I'm also a parent, you know, as Spiro said as well. My oldest son is very, very good friends with Evan Koretzos, roommates, and one of his best friends in life, and that is through the sport of lacrosse. And then the younger son was the one who played Stars and Stripes, about 10 years ago, and he's in school with Nico Koretzos, and I also have a young son who's 28, same age as Alex, and I have a daughter that plays lacrosse as well. So this is certainly a passion for our family. And the one message I would like all of you guys to get out of this tonight is that this is not about you guys getting something in return, right? This is about you guys really doing three things. The first thing is just continuing to develop a love and a passion for the sport of lacrosse and just making it fun. This is a lot of fun. I didn't know you guys were even in a boot camp. That is pretty cool that you guys are in middle school and high school, and it's October, and we get to experience 3 straight days of lacrosse. That is really, really cool. You know, and so just nurturing your passion for it is really, really important. Working really hard, right, to become a better player. Just keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting better. That's what we say to our guys. You know, we had a guy that was a 3-time first-team All-American at Penn a couple years ago, and all we talked to him about was just continuing to get better and staying humble. You know, and so no matter how good you are, getting better should always be one of your main objectives. And then the third thing I think is really important, it might be the most important, is be a great teammate. Right? And so you guys look around the room, you know who good teammates are, and who great teammates are, and who's kind of the average teammates are. But if every single day, if you do those three things in every single practice and every single game, you will probably have a very, very enjoyable lacrosse career. Whether that ends in high school or goes on to college or even beyond that, if you just constantly work on having fun, working really hard to become the best player you can be, and being a great teammate, I promise you that you will have a good experience, and you will help make your team better and help your team win and do all those things. And I'm sure a fair amount of you guys would like to be able to play in college, and I believe that you can do that if you want to badly enough. Just understand that it's a lot harder to get to a Division I, Division II, Division III lacrosse team than it was certainly when I was doing it. Right now, the numbers are about 3% of high school players per year that will go on and play Division I lacrosse. It's about 8% that will go on and play Division III lacrosse. Right? So that's challenging. And then one message I think is really important. Having coached at both levels and have a son that plays Division III lacrosse, and having seen this from a bunch of different angles, just understand that Division I lacrosse is not better than Division III lacrosse. Right? And I say that as a Division I coach. There are a lot of Division III teams that would beat some Division I teams. Right? And playing club lacrosse at a bigger school, right, is not necessarily lesser than Division III lacrosse. Right? There are some pretty good, club teams in places like Texas and Stanford and Clemson and places like that would beat some Division III teams. Right? And so don't think that you have to go play Division I lacrosse or you need to play Division III lacrosse. As long as you love lacrosse, there'll be a place where you can go play it. Right? And just don't think that you need to go to some place that's going to impress all your friends to go to school. Right? Just be honest with yourself and go to a place that is going to help you have a good experience. Hopefully it's a good fit for you academically, right? Hopefully it's a good fit for you athletically, and it should be a good fit for you personally, right? You don't want to sacrifice a ton on the academic side or on the personal side just so you can go and say you're going to play college lacrosse, right? You want to have a good sense of who you are. I know we have a bunch of ages in here. We have, I think, high school 10th graders here, right? Is that the oldest group? 11th graders, right? So we have juniors in high school, and you guys are starting to go through this process now. And we have guys that are 20, 30s and younger that aren't going to go through this for 4 years. The two pieces of advice I would give you in terms of navigating the recruiting process is number one, be open-minded. I said the same thing to my son, and he ended up at Dickinson. And I don't think if you offered him the ability to transfer to Kentucky and play basketball, he'd rather be at Dickinson than lacrosse. Right? If you offered him the opportunity to go play football at Notre Dame, I think he'd be happy to play lacrosse at Dickinson. Right? And so he's in the right place. It's a great fit for him. Right? And it wouldn't be the right fit for my other son, but this is about fit. Right? And so as long as you're honest with yourself, who you are as a student, who you are as a lacrosse player and what things will make you happy. For some people, they want a really big school. Some people want a small school. Some people want to be further south. Some people like to be in the city. Right? Whatever that is, it is, and you'll figure those things out over the course of time. But just understand that there are certain places that are going to fit kind of who you are as a student athlete. And so, in addition to those three things I mentioned, in terms of going to practice and having fun and working hard to get better and being a great teammate, one of the most important things you can do is do really well in school, right? And so I'm not saying that because I'm the coach of an Ivy League school, right? But the better you do in school, the more options you're going to have, right? The more options you will have. And if you choose to go to a bigger state school instead of a place like an Ivy League school, that's great. But as long as you have a choice. But if you couldn't go to some of the more elite institutions because you didn't do your work in ninth grade, that would be kind of sad. Right? And could not agree more with everything I've heard today about Stars and Stripes. There are no shortcuts. Right? Life doesn't work that way. Right? And so the more dependent you become on ChatGPT and shortcuts and cutting corners, and it sounds kind of funny, it sounds kind of silly, right? But I don't think it's a coincidence that the football team at Dickinson cuts across the lawn and the lacrosse guys stay on the sidewalk. It takes them 30 seconds longer to get to where they're going, but they do that consistently and they win a bunch of championships, right? And so we have one team rule at Penn. We don't have a long rule book, we don't have a bunch of stuff you have to remember. We have one rule, it's do the right thing the right way, right? And so you guys are still figuring that out, some of you older guys should pretty much know right from wrong at this point. If you don't know right from wrong, ask an adult. Ask your older brother, ask your older sister, ask your mom, ask your dad, ask your teacher, ask your coach, right? And then once you know right and wrong, right, there's a certain willpower that you need to develop to choose the right thing consistently, right? And that's if you walk in the bathroom in school and see somebody bullying somebody else, right? You got to do something about it, right? Or get punched in the face, but at least you need to do the right thing or try to do the right thing, right? Cheating on a test is not right, right? How many guys work out here? A lot of guys, right? So when you do push-ups, right, and you do squats or whatever, you get a little stronger, right? And the same is true. Your discipline and your willpower and your integrity are like a muscle, right? And the more you do things the right way and the harder you work, right, the more you develop that muscle, right? And over time, like doing the wrong thing or lying or cheating aren't even options. You don't even think about it. It would never even cross your mind. Just like those Dickinson lacrosse players don't cut across the corner of the grass, like they stay on the sidewalk and they do it the right way, right? Even though it's a little less convenient, takes a little more time, they do that thing the right way. And you guys want to do that with everything you do in your life, right? And it doesn't mean you have to, clean the dishes better than your mom does, right? But if you're going to choose to do something, you need to do it as well as it can be done. And that will start to become who you are, right? And that's when you think about being a great teammate and you conduct yourself that way, right? Everybody in here is going to want to be on your team. And then what happens when you get to be in 10th, 11th grade? Who's going to want you on their team? Me, right? Right? So the better teammate you are, the harder you work to become a good player, right? A good student. And all of a sudden, you're just doing all these things really well to the best of your ability. All of a sudden, you're going to have college options, and that's honestly how it happened for me. And that's why I think this is such a special situation you guys have here, right? You're doing this for the love of the game. You're doing this to get better. And sometime between when I was in high school and the last 10 years, right, it became a little different. Like people started playing lacrosse for the sake of some sort of college commitment. And it's really not about that. It's not about that at all. And I think the more committed you are to doing those three things of having fun and getting better and being a great teammate, right, and the less concerned you are with where you're going to go to college, when the time comes, like I didn't even think about that. I was just going to camps in the summer because I wanted to compete against other kids that I didn't compete against in high school. And next thing I know, I had these places calling me, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that. And so it's a little different now with social media and a million other things that are different. But I promise you, if you focus on lacrosse and school and being a good kid, right, the options will be there for you down the road. Right? If all you do is think about going to lacrosse practice as one step closer to your dream school, it's probably not going to work that way. I really don't believe it works that way. If you just concentrate on becoming the best version of yourself, and everything you do, right, that will give you the most options down the road. And again, if you continue to just nurture your love for lacrosse, it will pay you back tenfold, right? Hopefully, a few people in this room will be as lucky as I've been to be able to have the experiences I've had. And it's not even so much the championships or being on TV or beating a number one ranked team or any of that stuff. It's actually being invited to weddings, right? Staying in touch with guys that you know used to play for me, and just the relationship that you have. Like, you know, I guarantee you, some of you guys, you're gonna go to high school together, and already going to high school together, you'll be at each other's weddings. And that is so much more important than where you go to college to play lacrosse, right? And so being a good teammate and working hard together toward a common goal, right, that will forge friendships that you will have forever. And I guarantee you, my friendships to me are worth a lot more than the degree I have from college. A lot more. You know, and so if you just continue to work on the game and be true to the game and be, again, a good teammate and work hard, right, this sport will pay you back tenfold, 100-fold, right? There's no way I could ever repay lacrosse for everything it's done for me, which is part of why I like coming to events like this, because I feel like it allows me to give back a little bit to the sport that's given me my wife and my 4 kids and 99% of the positive experiences I've had in my life. So I really, really hope most of the guys in this room can have half as much fun and enjoy the sport of lacrosse and love the sport of lacrosse half as much as I have. So I would be happy to answer any questions that anybody has, maybe take 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah, take some questions. Like one first, one real quick. Players, what I really would love to do is for you to start thinking about a great question that you want to ask, and while you're thinking, I want to open up to the parents.
You talked about doing things for the right reason with the players and everything. How have you seen NIL impact the sport of lacrosse at the Division I college level?
Good question. And I think it's too early to tell because it's not really prolific in our sport yet. But I think there's some good and some bad. I do think the intent of the rule was to allow student athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. So for Caleb Williams to get a Dr. Pepper commercial, I think that makes sense. But for when these collectives get together and basically you're not allowed to have pay for play, but that's exactly what they're doing. And so that part of it is bad, I think. You know, and so as it trickles into our sport, which it's starting to now, I think it's going to have some adverse effects, especially when combined with the transfer portal. Like I'm not big on the transfer portal at all, or NIL. Philosophically, I don't agree with both of them, although I do like parts of NIL. If they had enforced the rule properly as it was intended, and people could get endorsement deals based on their prominence in the sport, I think that would be great. As long as we can eliminate the collective side of it, I think it would be a good thing for a lot of young athletes and their families that, you know, a lot of them were having a hard time, you know, affording college and some of the expenses around the sport and things like that. So I'd say there's some good and some bad to it.
Another parent with a question? Up in the back, yes.
If a boy doesn't, if he's not able to get on a team right away, and maybe their school doesn't have a club, but they do have a 1-2-3, are there walk-on opportunities? Okay. Great.
Yes, yeah, most schools have at least a trial period of 1 to 2 weeks. And in our case, and we're probably a little bit unique, but we probably have kept 10 or 15 walk-ons in my 15 years at Penn. We've had, I think, 2 or 3 instances where they're captains. So yeah, and again, like, you know, J.J. Watt was a walk-on. You know, like, we don't know. I mean, we do our homework, and I feel like recruiting is an important part of this, but like, there's no science to it. If the Eagles and the Giants can screw it up, then we're not going to screw it up.
Well, just the one thing, I think the moral of that question is go to school where you want to go to school and get the degree that you want to get, because of the small percentages that play in college. If you think about who's going to play professionally, even if you do play professionally, you think you're going to have enough to support a family and a lifestyle, it's very difficult. So you've got to find the path that's going to be best for your life that you want to have. And that school and those academics are a very important component of that. You say, Mike?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said before, you want to have a sense of what kind of college experience you want to have. and the lacrosse is part of that, and a lot of people say, what would happen if I was injured or take lacrosse out of the equation? I don't think that's a great approach either, because lacrosse is going to be a significant portion of your experience if you pursue it in college, but I don't think it should be the driving force in the decision necessarily.
You touched on this a little bit at the club lacrosse level, just kind of the way that it's transitioned over the last 10 or 15 years. It seems like college lacrosse, and certainly professional lacrosse, is picking up steam pretty quickly. Where do you see lacrosse as a sport overall in 10 years?
Yeah, very good question. Do you guys all hear that? Where do we see the sport in 10 years? I think the Olympics is going to help it immensely. I really hope the PLL takes off. From what I understand, and I'm not a business guy, obviously, ultimately for the PLL to continue to grow and be viable long term, they need to put people in the seats. And the social media is great, but I don't know if that's actually keeping the lights on for 20 years. But I think if, with the combination of the PLL and the Olympics, if the PLL continues to grow, I think the sport's going to be in a really, really good place. A little more high profile. I don't think it's going to help Division I lacrosse a whole lot, because with this enhancement of football, that's going to stunt any potential growth in men's sports in college in the foreseeable future. So that will be challenging, more so in Division I, not in Division III. And Division I hasn't grown a ton in the last 20 years. It's gone from like 60-some to 70-some programs. But it's exploded at the Division III level, and I would continue to see that happening, I think, over the next 10 years. But I think our sport's in a tremendous place. I think the level of play in college is getting better and better. The quality of the athletes, the quality of the play overall is getting much better.
Mike, I know it doesn't impact the Ivy League, but we're hearing that 12.5 scholarship cap is going away. What does that mean for collegiate lacrosse?
Yeah.
At the T1 level?
And so what they're doing is basically removing the scholarship cap. Currently in Division I, you're allowed to have 12.6 scholarships. And they're basically going to remove that because they don't want to basically have like a salary cap for lacrosse. So what they're going to implement is a roster cap of 48. And so that, from what I understand, is going to affect teams that are getting the money from that house settlement. And so if the school doesn't get that money, and like Ivy League doesn't get any of that money, and I don't know about like the Big East, because they're not a big time football program, football conference. So I don't know exactly who that's going to affect. And even at a place like Ohio State that prints money, I would say there's a 0 chance, less than that they're going to have 48 scholarships. Because that's 48 times whatever the school costs that they're not spending on football. And that's not going to happen.
How about the players? If anyone think of a question, raise your hand and stand up, and then just tell coach your first name and your grade.
Yeah, good question. Best way to reach out to college coaches is, I think, through email. That's what we're most accustomed to. And what I would do is send an introductory email with a fair amount of information, right? Who you are, position, school. If you can attach a transcript to that, I think that would be helpful. At the least, reference your GPA. A highlight film would be great to have as well. And then depending on the time of year, if you're emailing them now, I would give them some sort of schedule for any lacrosse you're going to be playing in the fall. November is when we're allowed to go watch guys play lacrosse. And then same thing in the summertime. If you email them in April or May, give them an idea of what your schedule is for the summer. But try to include as much information on the first one, and then after that you can send updates, every month or two throughout the summer, whatever the time of year it might be. So does that make sense?
Any other player questions? Yep, stand up.
I'm Jackson Coons. In your opinion, what's the best way to work on footwork?
On footwork?
Yes.
Great question. I would tell you the number one way by far is other sports. So if you can play football or soccer, basketball, wrestling, things like that, those are the best way to really improve your game, improve your athleticism. And I talked about getting better. I think there are 3 basic categories of improvement. It's the way we approach it at Penn. Number 1 is athletically, right, which is how athletic you are, big, strong, fast, fit, all that stuff. The second part is just your skill set, like how good your stick is, and some of the individual skills like dodging and defending techniques. And then the third piece is what kind of team player you are, right? How well do you kind of see the field on offense? How well do you understand team defense? Things like that. And so those are 3 ways you can work on it. The team stuff really requires a team practice or film. The individual stuff, like the stick work and the athleticism, you can work on your own in the weight room or on the track or with speed ladders and things like that.
But can we just add to that real quick? We get the question a lot. How long should my player play multi-sports, and when should they start singles training?
Yeah, I mean, personally, and I have 4 kids, and my youngest, who's 28, has played 3 sports throughout: football, basketball, lacrosse. He's playing football right now as a 9th grader, and he's going to play lacrosse in the spring. He's, I think, not going to play basketball, which is totally his choice. I think that makes sense. 3 is hard in high school, especially he goes to Malvern Prep, and they're pretty serious about football and basketball and lacrosse, and so you really kind of fall behind when you don't make the preseason stuff. Like he'll miss some preseason basketball for football, and then he'll miss preseason lacrosse for basketball. So it gets harder when you get into high school. But I think if you can play 2 sports, I think it's the best thing if you can. It's a little easier if it's a fall sport with lacrosse. Like I said, the winter sport into lacrosse is a little more challenging. But it's important you like the sport. If you don't like the sport, you're just doing it to say you played a sport. I'm not sure that's very helpful, but I wouldn't. The fear of missing out is one of the worst things you can succumb to, right? Whether it's social media or like, oh, I don't want to miss lacrosse training in the fall. It got ridiculous. If you're going to get so much more athletic playing soccer or football than you would in any combination of lacrosse training and skill stuff, it's not even close, And I would say the same thing applies in the summertime for all these events. And so pre-COVID, there were, let's say 10 events, 10 showcases, and then during COVID, 5 or 6 more popped up, and then the 10 came back. Now there's 16. I'm just making these numbers up. But there are more good events than you could ever possibly try to go to as one person. So don't even try. Don't even try. I would strongly encourage you not to do more than 4 or 5 days of lacrosse in a week, right? And I would strongly encourage you to take at least a week off, go on vacation, be a normal kid, be with your family at some point during June and July, right? If you can do those things, and I did that with our daughter, and our son will do the same thing, it'll all work out, right? You are not going to be able to go to every single thing. So don't worry about it. It all works out.
Why don't we do one more player question? Yeah, okay, we'll do 2 more. Evan and Chloe, okay? Evan,
What are college coaches looking for in a player?
Good question. Really the same 3 things I said before, like how athletic you are, how skilled you are, and how much of a team player you are, which is really an understanding type of thing more so than a selfless thing, but it's both. And then the 4th piece of it is kind of the intangibles. And we're fortunate, again, like in Division I, 3% of people will go on to play that. And so we're really looking for ways to not recruit people as much as we are, a great play will stand out, but so will a really bad play, right? And so if you palms up to your coach, like little things like that, talk back to the ref, jog back in the hole on defense, like we got plenty of guys to choose from. You don't need to give us something like that to not recruit you. But it's really about how good of a player you are, which again, it kind of depends on the position. On defense, the athletic part's a little more important, and on attack, the skill part's a little more important. You can be a little less skilled on defense, as long as you can stay in front of a guy, we can develop the other stuff. And if you're attacking that can't catch or can't throw his offhand, probably not gonna play.
Paulie, you get to close us out, Paulie.
Oh.
I'll vote you in 6th grade. What is the biggest thing you look for in the recruiting process?
Integrity. Biggest thing in recruiting is integrity. It's the hardest thing for us to figure out because we're watching kids. We see them on film. We see them in some showcase, or we see them play for their high school team or club team. It's really hard to really get to know how good of a person they are. And so that's when we start to do our due diligence with our high school coaches or club coaches or people that know them better than we do. Because the integrity thing is contagious. That's part of being a good teammate. If you bring in, we have 49 guys on our team. If you have 49 good guys, like the love for the game and the love for the program just grow. If you took, 4 or 5 guys, and 1 or 2 kids a year that weren't great guys, but they were great players, that's contagious, and it's a little less fun to be there. And so for us, and part of it's just the way I was raised probably, and the way I tried to raise our kids, but like being a good person and being a good, good teammate is by far the most important criteria for us in recruiting.
So I can attest to that, just so you know. So Jacob Pacheco was Nico's captain his senior year at BL. Jacob Pacheco was one of the best players on the field, had the most amazing leadership qualities, was the president of the class, and when we went to the award ceremony, he got called up for it was like embarrassing. He was so embarrassed that he got called up for every academic award. And when you talk about a well-rounded person, but the most impressive thing was that player's integrity, right? And that person's integrity. He was the nicest person that we knew at that school, and he embraced Nico as a new player like we can't imagine anyone else embracing him. So you're so lucky to have a Jacob Pacheco from a leadership perspective on top of everything else.
Yeah. And the kid was a first-team All-American I love. I still stay in touch with him, but I would rather have that kid than a talented first-team All-American kid. And I'd like to have them both. Hopefully it's the same kid at a certain point, but that piece of it's more important.
Well, Coach has 6:30 a.m. workouts tomorrow morning with his team. So for those of you that were complaining about the 7 a.m. start, right, just know they're starting at 6:30 tomorrow.
Yep.
So we can't thank them enough. So what we always do is we give our speakers one of the gifts. So yeah, you go get the unveiling of what your gifts are going to be. But just so you know, all of your gifts are going to be monogrammed with your number on it. So I texted Jack, Evan's roommate, and I wanted to know Coach Murphy's number when he played in college. So I text Jack and I say, Jack, what number was your dad when he played in college? He texts back, who is this? And then he texts back with a number and he says, I think. So then I said, Jack, we're going to print. He goes, I'm 99% positive. So we didn't double check him. So we're going to hopefully get this right. But let's do the unveiling of what you're all doing. And first of all, Coach Fred gets the credit for this year's gift. Okay? Our theme this year is we always wear the stars and stripes, right? But this year we took Army's West Point uniform where it's yellow, gray, mixed together. And we know we do boot camp. And we have a lot of veterans. So one of our former coaches, Coach Straub, was a veteran, and Fred's a veteran. So we always respect our veterans. It's very important to us. So what we got for everyone this year is a backpack that you can bring to all of your games, right? Now the cool thing about it is we have a Stars and Stripes Black Ops patch on it, and we've got your name patch on it. So you can take your red, white, and blue bag and put it in, and you can put, if there happens to be a phone, something with you, and then you all can put your sticks in, the top of your stick can come out of this, and you can wear it like a backpack. Look at that. And you can all hike in to our game. So Coach Murph, you've got one.
Did you get the number right?
Did we get the number right? That's the question.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Thank you
Thanks.
guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to see you all kind of walk in. Thanks, Coach Murph. Good luck tomorrow morning. Good luck to the guys. Okay. How special is he, right? I mean, so I will give you. Has he left?
Doors closed.
Okay. So I will tell you that Nico and I ended up in his office the first day you were allowed to meet with coaches. And Nico was enamored by everything he had to say. And Nico did 4 other schools after that, you know, some big name schools. And he came home and he said, let's get my picture on a UPenn Franklin Field poster, because I'm going to commit. And he was so excited, because Coach Murphy just instills that level of confidence, you know, what you could be in your future. And then Coach Bresci called and said, Nico, we really want you to come to UNC. And Nico said to me, Dad, let's not go for the weekend, because I think I've made up my mind, but I want to give it a chance. I want to see what Coach Bresci has to say, because, you know, this is a process. So we didn't think he was going to get an offer at UNC. We didn't know how it was going to go. They were inviting a lot of players down. So we said, let's bring Alex with us just to make it a fun weekend at UNC. Well, it just so happens that he went down to the school, loved the campus, loved the team, loved the coaches, loved the environment, loved the weather. Nico spent a lot of time in Atlanta in his high school years, and the BL winter outdoor practices just wore on him. And he just loved the weather. And we happened to be down there on an 85-degree day for the first football game against Georgia Southern post-COVID. So there was people everywhere on every street just out enjoying the weather, having a great time. And then he got offered that next morning to UNC, and he had to make a really hard decision. He'll still tell you he had 2 hard calls to make. Coach Petramala, because he was scared that Coach Petramala was going to yell at him for not picking Syracuse. And Coach Murphy, because he loves Coach Murphy, he didn't want to disappoint him. And I gotta tell you, when he called Coach Murphy, he said, Nico, we're so happy for you. Is that the right place for you? And he said, yes. And he said, we're 100% behind you. So that's the kind of guy that he is. Good. I'm good. You got a chance to experience it. All right, so this is what we got. We have whoever wants seconds can line up and get seconds. Good. There's still more food. We're going to break out the dessert. There was supposed to be someone else coming. We're just going to check to see if they're lost or not. And if no one else is coming, we're going to give out our gifts, and everyone's going to go home. So if you do want seconds, get seconds before dessert comes out.
I just want to say, right, I know Isaiah's embarrassed. My wife's going to tell me to make it quick. But for all the kids in here, understand the reason you're in this room today is because of your parents. So could all the parents please stand up, please? If you have a child in the room, please stand up. But as important as these people are in your life, and as much as you love them, could all the coaches, if you coach any sport, I don't care what it is, could you please stand up as well? If you are a teacher, could you please stand up as well? If you work in a school, could you please stand up as well? If you work in a nonprofit, could you please stand up as well? If you are a doctor, could you please stand up as well? So boys, look around the room, right? None of these people, some of these people might be related to you, but most of them are not. It takes one caring person in a child's life outside of their family to make a difference. And I want you to understand how special the people are in this room. Coach Spiro and his staff are outstanding individuals. I work for a mentor agency. I work for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. I work locally here in the Lehigh Valley. There's so many kids that don't have the opportunities that you have. So my message to you, the players, the kids that will become adults and professionals one day, is don't forget, wherever you are in life, give back. Make a difference in your community, make a difference in the job that you work, and always think about the other people that don't have what you have. And you will be just as successful as you are on the field and in the classroom and whatever you choose to do in life. And it's very important. Give back to others who don't have what you have. And I just wanted to say, I've been a part of this. This is our 4th year being in the program. Coach Spiro, you have done nothing but make our life exceptional with the lessons that you have taught my son. And I hope, and I know there's a lot of other parents in here that feel that way, but Coach Spiro gives back. And just like he said, he makes $1 off of this. And look what he does for us as a community. And that's what it's all about. We are a community, we grow as a community, we strive as a community, and always be that community, no matter where you go. And in my world, there's no better community than a lacrosse community. Thank you so much.
Hey, first of all, he's an amazing speaker. He has an amazing message, and he is an amazing singer. If we ever get to that. Happy birthday! But I will tell you, hey, as a reminder, our first opportunity, because community service is interwoven into what we do. Our first community service event as a team, and if you're in the Lehigh Valley, I think it was our 29s and our 30s, right? So high schoolers, you get a pass until we figure out what you're going to do. Our 29s and 30s are going to
Miracle League Trick and Treat on October 23rd.
Yep, Miracle League Trick and Treat. Yep. Who did Miracle League Trick and Treat last year? What? How amazing was it helping out all of those trick-or-treaters? Was that amazing? Did you feel great? Yeah. What was your question?
What if we have other clubs that are going to be?
Yeah, there's a lot of other clubs you can be with your other club too. It's fine, as long as you're giving back. So we will continue to find other ways to give back. We're going to love it. I mean, it's amazing to see the work that we do to set up our tent area there, and then to help all the players help all the trick-or-treaters. It is going to be a great event. So thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. Good. All right, we're going to try to get everyone out of here. So, high schoolers, let's line up over here. Behind them are 29s. Behind them are 30s. Right here. Over here first. Over there.
I just want to take a quick moment. Hold up, guys.
Okay, that's all. Let's line up. Make an L around the corners. You guys should not walk this way. Walk that way.
No, let it go. Because the coach wants to speak. Then you can stop.
Good. And then you guys, real quick, start walking that way and get to the back of the line. Okay, easy. Let's go.
I just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge Spiro and share a little story from our freshman year of college. So, Spiro and I played both football and lacrosse together at Dickinson, and one of the rites of passage for the freshman football players at the end of football camp is all the coaches and upperclassmen put us in a locker room, and they told us all during camp, hey, you have to do a skit and make us laugh, or you're basically going to wish you were home crying to your mothers, essentially. And we were all like, yeah, it's fine. So we came up with some half-baked skits that really weren't worth anything entertainment-wise. And Spiro, coming from New York, and most of our team was Pennsylvania and a couple of New England, a little bit of Jersey, where I was from, sprinkled in. And we are failing miserably. And we're all just thinking about we're getting up at 6 a.m. and running the next morning until we throw up. And Spiro gets up and just starts talking. And you can just start seeing players and coaches. And he's just telling stories about, Yonkers and Carlisle and trees and the people he's met and expectations and everything. And next thing you know, coaches are walking out of the room because they're crying, laughing. Nobody can hold back. The entire room erupts. And it was just a little bit of Spiro as a person, of how he's going to step into a situation that he cares about and give something of himself to other people, right? In that situation, he saved us. They kind of called us out saying it was one person, but we're all behind him. But it's the same energy and passion that he throws into this program for the families and the kids and college and adult, like you talked about. So I just wanted to share that story and say thank you to Spiro, and let's give him a round of applause.